Bill Livingston, Cleveland Plain Dealer columnist, joins us now. Bill, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Where do you rank LeBron's Game 7 performance?
Well, first of all, I'd add the 70s Knicks on passing the ball. And that's a very good point about Portland. But the Knicks, hit the open man, and nobody shot deep like that because now they've had the three in college and high school for 30 years. Game 7 of this series, the past series?
Yeah.
Well, he's had a lot of turnovers because of the minutes he's played. I wouldn't put it up there with Game 7 of the finals when he had a triple-double. And I think only James Worthy and Jerry West, who I heard your comment. Jerry West was MVP in defeat in 1969.
Yeah.
And that's just preposterous to call Mr. Clutch a guy who didn't come through. Didn't have the supporting cast, just like Wilt didn't have the supporting cast Bill Russell did. And LeBron doesn't have the supporting cast Golden State does. I thought Indiana, the seventh game against Indiana, when finally the Cavs had some guys chip in, was the best played game. It was very tense. It was a 4-point game. It was really 7. Oladipo hit a 3 at the buzzer. But, the Cavs won their 4 games by a total of 14 points. I thought that was the best played game. But the seventh games are like that. The Celtics panicked when they got behind. They were young and inexperienced with a great future, but it just wasn't now. And the Cavs had been there, and they had the best player on the floor. And as Ty Lue said afterwards, his mentors, Doc Rivers, Doc always said in a seventh game, I want the best player on the floor on my team.
You look at the supporting cast with LeBron James, and we sort of go back and forth that it's not good, but then they do something, and we say, well, it's better than we thought. And how do you think history is going to look at this supporting cast with LeBron?
Probably the weakest since the 2007 team, which was one of the weakest finalists ever. Now, Love's better than anybody else they had other than LeBron on that team. I guess the second best player on that team was probably Zdrunas Ilgauskas. Love's better than that. But, I don't think there's much chance in this series because it's the best team against the best player. But, LeBron can't do it all. And, it was unlikely in 2016. I know it was 1% chance when they were down 3-1, but they still had Irving then, and Golden State hadn't added Durant, and that just changed everything. Durant more than losing Irving, that just changed everything. He went to a 73-win team. They're always going to be favored. And also, by the way, I thought Houston had a lunatic game plan. When you've missed 27 in a row, it's time to start shooting mid-range.
Well, Bill, I said, any shooter will tell you.
You're right. They're very boring. They really are boring.
Yeah, but I want you to at least get a foul. I was always taught if you're not making your jumper, at some point, get a foul, get to the free throw line.
Yeah.
Just get some points.
Attack the rim, get to the line. Yeah, that's one of the things with Love. People here have dumped on Love a lot. Well, he gets you 10-plus rebounds a game, and he does get to the line. Not like LeBron does, but the second most on the team. He contributes to the victory, and he's a smarter player than those Houston guys chucking and ducking.
His availability for Game 1, when will you guys be informed?
We won't know. There's a conference call with Ty Lue just before noon. I guess there'll be an update then. I have not seen anything, but I've been in and out this morning.
The last line of your column you wrote, behold the best to play the game ever.
That's how I feel.
When did you come to that conclusion?
During this playoff run. It's just, 4 games of 40 or more, 3 triple-doubles, missed a triple-double in Game 7 the other night by 1 assist, and that was because nobody could make shots. You kind of had a mini version of Houston's three-point shooting by both teams. I saw a very funny thing by a friend of mine on Facebook about it was Michelangelo versus Da Vinci. And I said, well, LeBron would have to be Michelangelo because he's got the body for the Sistine ceiling, and he could also P&S, paint and sculpt, or pass and score.
Yeah, but Bill, you can't have somebody named Michelangelo not be Michael Jordan.
Well, you're probably right, but I was straining for a bad pun.
Oh, okay.
But, I think LeBron is probably, if he doesn't get hurt, and he's never been hurt, knock on wood, will probably wind up the all-time leading scorer in the NBA, and he's a passer. I mean, he passes like magic. It's like what Chichi Rodriguez said about Nicholas. He's a legend in his spare time when he was designing golf courses. That's LeBron. He's going to break the scoring record even though he looks to empower his teammates.
I also
it's
brought,
incredible.
but I brought this up and I don't want to get into the LeBron versus Jordan until LeBron is done. Like, I'm tired of it now. I'm going to wait till LeBron's all done. But I look at LeBron in a similar way that I look at Tom Brady. I want to give you credit for playing for championships. You know, Michael and Joe Montana always had, people who would argue for them would always say they never lost. And that's true. But I got to give you credit for getting there, even if you do. Like, there's no shame in what Brady did in the Super Bowl this year. He threw for 500 yards.
Is Brady's 5-3 worse than 4-0 by Montana? I don't think so. He got there 4 more times.
I know. And there's
one more,
something to be said about getting there. And I think the critics are going to be waiting for him to lose. If he loses in 5, or God forbid he gets swept, and then all of a sudden, this is bad for his legacy to get to another NBA final.
I know. And, I think his legacy was secured not only when he brought a championship to Cleveland after promising it and after coming back in an act of redemption and reconciliation between fans and media here and himself, but just by the way he's conducted himself off the court. I mean, I know you just look at between the lines, but he's never been in trouble with the law. Enormous amount of charity work in his hometown and in the whole area, and an inspiration to disadvantaged kids all over the country.
2 weeks from now, what are we talking about in Cleveland with the Cavs?
What LeBron will do in free agency and who they'll take in the draft. I don't think they're going to win the series. I think it'll be the gentleman's sweep 5 games.
But also, is this 8th pick enough? Is there anything?
No.
Okay.
No. They were of all year, and they've been insanely lucky in the lottery. Had they taken Oladipo and not Anthony Bennett, one of the busts of number 1 of all time, they would be in a different situation now. But they did get Kyrie Irving and, of course, LeBron, and they got Andrew Wiggins, which was the bait to trade for Love. So they've been insanely lucky, but they needed to get. They were really hoping if they could have gotten in the top 3 and gotten somebody to say, "Look, LeBron, look what we got now." They didn't.
Could you see a scenario where he just signs a 1-year deal to stay in Cleveland to kind of figure out what the Lakers are doing, or
I don't see him going to the West early. It's just so much harder to get to the finals there. Although it's going to be hard with Boston and Philadelphia, as you say.
Yeah.
He is really torn, I think, between head and heart. He does not want to uproot his family again. He speaks very movingly about the relationship with the fans when he leapt up on the scorer's table after the buzzer beaters. He said, "They know me. They've seen me since I was a kid." I don't think he wants to move, but the deteriorating competitiveness of the Cavs and the increased increased personnel by other teams may lead him to. I don't know what he's going to do.
The kind of shrugging off Dan Gilbert, the owner, with a handshake after the game? Does that? I know they don't have a good relationship, but
no, they don't have a good relationship. Gilbert sent out a very ill-conceived tweet that I've gotten in trouble for too, by criticizing the circumstances under which I thought it was sent out, and I'm not going to repeat it because I don't want to get in trouble again. But Gilbert is probably a popular owner with fans because he'll pay whatever it takes. Of course, he also owns a casino, and only Donald Trump went bankrupt with casinos, but that I know of. But anyway, I don't think LeBron likes him at all. I don't think he's very popular with the team for driving off a very good general manager in David Griffin. But he does pay them, and I'm sure every 2 weeks I'm sure they like him a lot.
Bill, good stuff. Have fun during the finals, and thanks for joining us again.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bill Livingston.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.